What's going on, everybody? Just giving y'all a couple more minutes for everybody to file in. I know it's a little bit of a late show this evening. I had to take care of some business, work wise, and everything with the job. So that's what kept me. But I am here and I am ready to roll and get ready to get this show started. So y'all make sure y'all share this show out. Make sure y'all let everybody know to come on in, and we're gonna have a good time this evening. I'm gonna do my best not to keep everybody too long as we are inching closer to the NFL draft. So um, everybody come on in, make sure y'all share the show out. Y'all know that share button. Y'all hit the like button. I want to get about 20 likes if I can. And get as many people in here as possibly can. So I thank y'all for sticking with me, and we are going to have a good show tonight, and we're going to definitely have some fun, and also going to be doing a little bit of a mock draft while the show is going on. So I definitely will be coming out with a 3-round mock where the Titans might be going in this draft, and of course let y'all know some coverage of the NFL draft. I will be doing a show during the draft. I'm trying to work the kinks out as far as how that's going to go, but definitely stay tuned for that. And we're definitely going to be getting started in just a moment. So getting everybody some time to pile on in. And I hope everybody's doing good and safe. Um, I hope everybody is safe during this time and everything with what's going on out there. And I know that the news, you can get sick of the news, but we're going to have some positivity and we're going to talk some football. That's what we're going to do. And we're going to have a good time doing it and everything. So we're going to get ready to get started in just a moment. And we are going to get this show on the road. We got some news that happened in we got some news that happened in the NFL, and that does impact a certain Tennessee Titan that that we're going to definitely talk about too. So I thank y'all for tuning in with me tonight. We're going to go ahead and get this show on the road. Yes, indeed. Let's see. Ryan Tanner go. AZ Mick, how y'all doing? Welcome on in. Welcome on in. Coach Plays, I see y'all in here. Let's get this show going. Tighten up. Let's get tightened up. Tightened up. I've been scoping from the sideline, waiting for the right time to send the precious team to scrimmage. So I'm busting y'all. Welcome to the we got this here. We got this here. Don't worry about it. We got this here. This means the city's open. Till I'm clear. Don't worry about it. See, we got this here. It's a brand new dance and it's about to go live. Tighten up, nasty, rock the 615. Push the tighten 2 step to the right. Then you tighten 2 step to the left. Blue jerseys everywhere. Yeah, we got it all. We get our you know that like it's King Kong. It's about to get rough. Here come the train, y'all. Tennessee tighten up. Let's get tightened up. Tighten up. Let's get tightened up. Stick it out my cheek. We know it got this cool power. Stick it out my chest. We know it got this King Kong. Tighten to the left, to the right. Stick it tight. Step to the left. Stick it out my chest. We know it got this King Kong. Stick it out my chest. We know it got this King Kong. Third down, come on, man, we got the show. Good evening, Titan Nation. How's everybody doing on this evening? Welcome into a brand new edition of Titans and Truth. I'm your man, Chris, aka Blue Enforcer. We're going to have a whole lot of fun on this evening, I tell you. We're going to have one heck of a good time, and we're going to definitely have a good show here tonight. Hope everybody's doing good. Thank y'all for sticking with me. Sorry for the late start because I had to do some work earlier. Like a lot of you, I do work a regular job, so when that happens, sometimes I have to work a little extra, work a little over, and it kind of caused me to not be able to do my show at my regularly scheduled time, but we still gonna make it happen anyway. So everybody, thank y'all for sticking with me. I know a lot of y'all are probably not gonna see this show probably until tomorrow or something like that. But hey, y'all make sure y'all comment, let me know what you think of the show. Make sure you hit that like button for me, and make sure y'all spread the word because I want to get as many viewers as possible. Definitely want to get up to around 20 or so viewers in. So we're definitely going to get this going. I see Ryan Tannegoat is in there. We're doing good. How about you? AZ Mick is in. I see you. Billy Scott, how you doing? Coach Plays is in here. My good friend, Coach Plays. Make sure y'all let NGB Talk and Tighten Up Low know what's going on so they can come on in here too. Everything. And also shout out to Tighten Upload. I know he had his Tuesday Night Lights show debut yesterday. I have not gotten a chance to watch it yet, but I am going to make sure to watch it. But I do want to give a big congratulations to Tighten Upload for expanding with his network. Definitely. Always glad to be a guest on his show and everything. And I see Ryan Tannegoat said he got his Taylor Lewan and AJ Brown jersey. Well, I too have a new jersey into my repertoire. I have my King Henry that my lovely wife got for our wedding anniversary. For our ninth wedding anniversary. So shout out to my lovely wife, Miss Ashley, as she got me my Derrick Henry jersey. I had a tough time deciding between Ryan Tannehill and Derrick Henry, but figuring that Derrick Henry did just become the top rusher in the NFL and is probably going to get a nice contract this summer, I just figured it was just right to get Derrick Henry. I will probably have a Ryan Tannehill jersey before the beginning of the season, so be on the lookout for that. So I thank my wife for that support and for getting me that jersey. I definitely appreciate that. Let's see. Billy Scott said prediction: Titans, Colts, Texans, Jags. I like your optimism. I really do. And I hope that does come true. It's not going to be easy, but I think we could do that. Gino P, thank you for checking in with me while you're on the clock making that money. I hope everybody's doing all right out there. Daryl John, glad you came in. You didn't miss anything. I had to come in a little late since, the regular job had me working a little overtime, so had to stay over and it kind of pushed back the time a little bit. So Gino says she's a keeper. Yeah, I think so too. I mean, I have been married to her for 9 years, so I think there's a reason to keep her around just a little bit longer. What's up, Reggie? Definitely, thank you for that. And everybody, Titan Anderson. I see Titan Anderson is up in here. Man, I feel like a celebrity. I got some of the big wigs watching me tonight. That's what I'm talking about. Ryan Tannegoat, Titan Anderson, Coach Plays. I feel like a celebrity. I'm like, I appreciate that. So we're gonna go ahead and get into the show. And speaking of King Henry, speaking of King Henry, as some of us put the crown on his head and bow down to the king, of course, he did sign his $10.2 million franchise tender. So he's locked in for next season. But of course, they have until July 15th to work out a long-term contract, or he will just play out the franchise tag and be able to go into free agency next year. Now, there has been a turn of events as far as that development, and that is because yesterday, Christian McCaffrey, Carolina Panthers running back, just became the highest paid running back in NFL history. He just got a 4-year, $64 million contract extension, which means he will be getting paid at $16 million per year. He is now the highest paid running back in the league. Now, everybody is probably wondering, what does that mean for King Henry? And I feel like this. Did Christian McCaffrey deserve to get paid? Yes. I mean, let's think about the stats. This guy has come in. Let's first take a look at last year. And I even had his stats up. And I don't know if I have them right back with me, but I was looking at his stats. Last year, rushed for 1,400 yards, caught 116 balls, and caught over 1,000 yards receiving. That's all in the same year. Christian McCaffrey had more production than a lot of running backs and wide receivers combined. Okay? That is a major deal on this. So that's actually what I'm going to bring up, if I can. Okay, there we go. Bringing up his stats actually right now as we speak. So here's the thing. Christian McCaffrey, on the ground only. I'm not talking his receiving stats. This dude, 1,387 yards rushing, 15 touchdowns. That's normally a great year for any running back just on the ground. And in receiving, 116 catches, 1,005 yards, 4 receiving touchdowns. This dude accounted for 19 touchdowns and almost 2,500 yards by himself, running and catching. This guy, he's ran for 1,000 yards the last 2 years and had 867 yards on 107 catches last year, the year before last. He has not had a year where he's caught. He has not had a year. The lowest amount of catches he's had in a year is 80, and that was his rookie year. He caught 80 balls for 600 yards as a rookie. He's had over 100 catches the last 2 years. And this dude is a running back, not just a receiver. This dude could probably go all pro as a running back and a receiver. So I give major props to CMC 2-2 on getting his money. Definitely deserves it. I see Ryan Tannehill say he got a Tannehill jersey for Christmas, and Henry last Christmas I see getting a Bayer jersey. Titan Anderson says the only one he got signed was Jarrell Casey. Hey, I may have to get me a discounted Jarrell Casey jersey because he is still one of my favorites. Titan Anderson thinks Henry will get $12 million a year for 4 years. I'm gonna say this. This does affect Derrick Henry because the ceiling is now set at $16 million a year. Unless Derrick Henry has a great year coming out, catching the ball out of the backfield, and I mean Derrick Henry only caught like 18 balls last year. Yeah, he had 1 or 2 touchdowns receiving, but he only caught 18 balls. Christian McCaffrey caught over 100 and still toted the rock nearly 300 times. I forgot to mention that. Yeah, 287 carries and then 116 catches. He is truly a 3-down running back. You ain't never got to take, you don't ever have to take Christian McCaffrey off the field. Derrick Henry, unless it's 3rd and short, you're taking him off the field on 3rd down. Derrick Henry has to prove that he can stay on the field on third down. So, and again, Derrick Henry, 303 carries than Christian McCaffrey and had about almost 160 yards more on the ground. But Derrick Henry only had 18 catches, 206 yards, 2 touchdowns out of the backfield. He hasn't even gotten over 20 catches in a year. Most he's gotten is maybe 12, 13, 14, 17, 18. He's going to have to bring that number up. If Derrick Henry wants to get paid like a major running back, he's going to have to at least catch about, I'm not even going to say he got to catch 100 balls. He could probably catch about 30 or 40, maybe. 30, 40, maybe 400 or 500 yards receiving. I don't think that's too much to ask. And I want y'all to comment. Am I asking too much of Derrick Henry to do more in the passing game? He needs to do that. He's got to be better at pass protection. That's something that has been a weakness of his. So I want to hear y'all. I want to hear what y'all think. How do y'all think Christian McCaffrey's contract affects Derrick Henry? The ceiling is now set at $16 million a year. And in my opinion, I think Derrick Henry will get extended. I don't think it'll be 4 years. I think it'll be either 2 or 3 year deal. I think it'll be a 2 or 3 year deal. And I'm going to say, at the very most, I want to say the floor for me would be 13. The ceiling for me would be about 14 and a half. Because David Johnson is a declining back and he's still getting 13. So I would at least start there. But I would say give him about a 3 year deal. I'm going to say in a perfect world, give him about 3 years, $44 million. And you got to work out the numbers. Maybe have a little bit of a bonus. 3 years, $44 million. That gets him right over $14.5 million a year. That might be a little bit too much. But I mean, Derrick Henry being the top back in the league, he does deserve at least that. But my ceiling is about 14 and a half. He's not going to get to 16. I don't even know if he'll get over 15. But I'm going to say at least right at about 14 and a half, maybe a little bit over that. That's just my thought. That's my opinion. 14 and a half. Joseph says, however, hopefully the virus doesn't affect the season. We ain't going to talk about the virus tonight. But I hope it doesn't affect the season either. TITANS is saying, well, I know he's got to roll off. I understand. Thank you for tuning in. K True, what's up with you? SS Titan X, what's going on with you? Appreciate that. And he said, I agree. Got to have to have more, catch more screens. And I don't think it'll be just screens. Derrick Henry's going to have to try to at least run a couple of routes. Maybe, some middle screens, or maybe have him come out and maybe have him come over through the middle of the field or something like that. Or maybe like some little slant routes where he can get some run after the catch. Because once Derrick Henry gets to the open field, he is very, very, very difficult to bring down. So, yes, does he deserve to get paid? Absolutely. Will he be highest paid running back? No. Unless he catches a lot of balls out of the backfield. That's the only way I see it. He's got to prove he can be a 3-down running back, not just 2. $16 million ain't going to a 2-down back who you got to bring off the field. Not going to happen. So that's just my opinion. Harry Coward says, just pay King Henry already. Man deserves it all. Daryl says, you nailed it. Derrick is a 2-down back. He does not have the hands for receiving, and pass blocking is suspect, 13 and a half. And see, I went a little bit further than that. I went 14 and a half. But Derrick Henry's got to prove he can catch the ball out of the backfield. Because I mean, let's think about it. Even if he gets a 2 or 3 year, even if he gets a 3-year deal, the Titans are probably going to make it so that they can get out of it as Hilaire or a J.K. Dobbins in the second round, and they come in and they're just a good receiving threat out of the backfield. That makes Derrick Henry a little bit more expendable. So that's something that you got to know. The Titans are drafting a running back in this draft, and they're going to be looking for a running back that can catch out of the backfield, that can do a little bit of both. Because it could happen where Derrick Henry's the 1, the other guy's the 2, but you could see it where it switches to where the other guy is 1, Derrick is the power back. So that could be something that could happen. So I'm not trying to put that into fruition. I'm just saying it is possible that can happen within the next couple of years. So you might want to be prepared for that. So that's that on that with Derrick Henry. I think he's going to get paid. I think it raised the price tag a little bit. But I think I said at one point $13.5 million. I think going up to $14.5 is not a bad idea. Owen mentioned Jadeveon Clowney. I know somebody else mentioned, Ryan Tannehill said, haven't heard anything yet on Clowney. Starting to think we might be back out of the race. And Owen comes in and says, I think we're getting Clowney April 28th. We won't have to give up a third round compensatory pick. That is a very interesting part of all of this, because Buck Rising did A to Z Primetime last night, and he mentioned that it's been 1 month since Jadeveon Clowney has been a free agent. He hasn't signed with anybody yet, but the Tennessee Titans continue to be in the race. And remember, Paul Kaharski of paulkaharski.com, and of course co-host on the Midday 180 on 104.5, he tweeted out and said himself that the Titans are all in on Jadeveon Clowney. They are all in. It's obvious. Mike Vrabel wants him. Vrabel wants him big time. So the Titans are definitely in the race. Now, word is, and again, I don't know how confirming it is, but word is that, and this is from, I want to say, Garofolo was talking about maybe slim to none chance that he goes back to Seattle. So apparently, according to him and a few others, that Seattle's out on Clowney. They're moving on, and they may be looking at Everson Griffin. But as I mentioned last week's show, the Cleveland Browns might be trying to creep in, and the New York Jets are still sticking around and things like that. But one thing that has been consistent, one thing that has been constant is the Tennessee Titans. The Tennessee Titans have been in the Clowney conversation since the beginning and has stuck with it. Nobody has come out and said, well, the Tennessee Titans are out on Jadeveon Clowney. Nobody said that yet. So, again, and then also April 28th. So we have a draft a week from tomorrow, which you can definitely catch some draft coverage right here on Titans and Truth. April 28th is the day that I think a lot of people are waiting for. That is when the compensatory picks will be final for next year. As of right now, the Tennessee Titans are slated to have a third-round compensatory pick for Jack Conklin getting signed by the Cleveland Browns. I don't think this will have anything to do with Marcus Mariota going to Oakland. Maybe. There's a possibility of that. That might be more a fifth-round pick, perhaps, but I don't know. I won't guarantee that. I'll try to have some information for the show before the draft. But as far as the compensatory, once April 28th comes, any moves that are made after that date, Any moves made on that date and going forward. So let's just say, for example, if we sign Jadeveon Clowney now, we pretty much have lost that third round pick because Clowney's value is going to be more than Jack Conklin. He was a former number 1 pick. So if you go ahead and sign Clowney now, you put in danger of losing that compensatory pick that you would have gotten because, you know, who you bring in, I think it's about how many players you bring in. It's how many players you've lost minus of how many players you brought in. That's where that comes in. And so, and Jack Conklin was a pretty big deal being a top 10 pick in 2016, I want to say. So if Clowney is out before the 28th, we're probably not getting a compensatory pick. But if Clowney is signed after on the 28th or after, that doesn't count against the compensatory picks. We're pretty much guaranteed that third round pick anyway, even if we sign Clowney. So I think that could be a strategy that maybe a deal is already in place and that they're saying to Clowney's camp, hey, here's what we're going to do. Let's go ahead and agree in terms secretly. We're not going to put this out yet, but after the draft passes, we'll make it official. After the draft passes, we'll make it official. We'll make it official and we'll put the word out and everything. So that is something that could definitely be going on. So let me get to some comments. Speaking on when we talk about Derrick Henry, Jake 24 Titan says that's what keep him off the field when he was a freshman at Alabama. Hey, you gotta be able to catch the ball out of the backfield, and that's Derrick Henry. Let's see. Ryan Tannehill said kind of like Kamara replacing Mark Ingram. Yeah, exactly. That could definitely happen. In New Orleans, Mark Ingram was the top guy. Kamara came in and outperformed him. Let's see. SS Titan X, SSJ Titan X. I hope I'm saying that right. Says, I think all these teams are waiting for the medical staff to be able to look at all these players before they sign guys. Just have to wait for the virus to pass. Yeah, there's a lot going on with this virus. And at the same time, exactly. That is the main thing that's holding this up, especially with Clowney, is the medicals. That is a big part of all of this is the medicals. We got to know what's going on with him. And we got to know if he's completely healed and ready to go. Because if he's not, it will be too much of a gamble. Tyler Wester, what's going on with you? Welcome in. Joseph Rodriguez says, we need to give up something to bring in Clowney for our defense. We are at pick 29 in this year's draft. And in the draft, J-Rob could move up. He could move down. You know, J-Rob is not. One thing that J-Rob is not going to do, he's not just going to settle. He's going to make some type of move at some point. He's going to make a move. What that move is remains to be seen. So that's something that I would definitely look at. I mean, yeah, the medicals, big deal in all of this. It is a huge deal. It is a huge deal. Without those medicals, we're not sure about him. So that's the problem. Let's see. Ryan Tannehill says, can't they agree to terms before the 28th and officially sign a player? That's exactly what I'm saying. That's exactly what could be happening. Is that they may have agreed in principle to that, but they have not made it official yet. So that definitely could be the case. Let's see, y'all forgive me. I'm actually in the middle of my mock draft right now. So I will let y'all know the results of that in just a bit. Let's see. Owen says, I think we're going to trade down. It got reported today J-Rob is trying to. Let me know what source that is because I want to look that up. Dennis Williams, what's up? What's going on? Tyler says, we're going cornerback or right tackle first pick, but it was, let's see, Ryan Tannehill said it would still count if it got public that they agreed to terms. Correct. Well, they could agree to terms, but it's got to be official, like as in signed on the dotted line. I want to say. I could be wrong, but I'll check that out. But I think they're not going to bring none of that out until after that point. So that's what I think about that. I think they're going to wait until after the draft to make that official if there is something going on. They'll get back and talk about clowning once this draft is over. But speaking of mock drafts, and I do hope we do get Clowney because, if the Titans don't really draft an edge rusher, that tells you something. If they don't draft an edge rusher, that's telling you something. That is going to be a big deal. So we're definitely going to see about that. Now, speaking of mock drafts, Mel Kiper came out with his 4.0 draft and has the Titans picking Yatir or Etir Gross Matos from Penn State at 29. And he has Alabama cornerback Trevon Diggs at 61. Bucky Brooks of NFL Network has the Titans taking Marlon Davidson, Auburn defensive lineman pass rusher, at 29. So, and I was just working on my mock draft through the draft network. My first pick, and I was really trying to go best player available, was Boise State tackle Urza Cleveland. That is my first pick at 29. Second round pick, I chose Clyde Edwards-Helaire, running back of LSU. Best player on the board. He was at the top of the board in round 2. My third pick in the third round was Tony Pride Jr., cornerback from Notre Dame. And what I like about him, good corner and also has return ability. I'm actually making my 5th round selection as we speak. And I'm trying to take a look at some possibilities here because, now it's more of a crapshoot. I decided to go with TD's guy, AGG, Anthony Gordon Golden from Liberty in the 5th round. I've heard him talk a lot about him, and I'm not going to let that pass. So that's me. I agree with Owen on the trade down, getting my shirt ready. And you know what? I think that's the best option for J-Rob, my opinion, is to trade down. It is to trade down. I think you trade down, get out of the first round. I don't really like the position that we're in. The only way I would stay at 29 is if it looks like Jeff Gladney's going to be there. Maybe it's CJ Henderson, which I don't think Henderson falls. Gladney, Henderson, Fulton, if one of those 3 guys fall there, or maybe Kevin Chason is maybe in the mid-20s, I'd trade up for him if we're not getting Clowney. But other than that, I would trade out of the first round if it's me. Because I think Gladney could be there in round Gladney could be there at the top of round 2, and then we get an extra pick, get an extra pick or so out of that. That's just me. That's what I would do as far as that. Let's see. I'm just looking right now, finishing up some stuff. So yeah, I like. I mean, I definitely think that trading down is the best option. That's what I would look at and pick up some extra picks. And everything. Now we do, and I think J. Rob is gonna do some wheeling and dealing. Y'all know this. He's gonna wheel and deal. He's gonna move up in some spots or move back in some spots. J. Rob ain't just gonna sit still with his picks. Not at all. He is definitely not gonna just sit still and sit idly by. Not his that's not his MO. That's not what he does. So that's what I would think. But yes, Daryl John, we on the same page. That's exactly who I wanted 29. Jeff Gladney. As y'all heard, y'all can go back and listen to my show about the corners. He's my number one corner. He is my number one corner. And I'm a big fan. I am a big, big fan of Jeff Gladney. I like him a lot. So that's what I think about that. But let's go quickly into pick my brain. Pick my brain. Pick my brain. I know I got a few questions in regards to that. And we're definitely going to get to that. Joseph, I'm going to get to your questions in a bit. Ryan Tanago comes in and says, do you think the Titans would trade down with the rival Colts, who would want a young quarterback behind Rivers? Colts have the 35th pick. Now, you don't hear a lot about teams in the division trading with each other. You rarely hear that of teams within division trading with each other. Heck, a lot of times you don't really hear a lot of trades within conferences. A lot of times the trade is going from NFC to AFC or AFC to NFC. It's not too often you hear of a trade like Titans trading with the Bills or Titans. I mean, yeah, you can hear about it more like saying, hey, Patriots and Titans make a trade, or like Titans and Raiders make a trade or something like that. But you rarely hear of something like Houston and Tennessee making a trade or Jacksonville and Tennessee making a trade. Like, for example, I would honestly give up the 29th pick for Yannick Ngakoue. If we don't get Jadeveon Clowney, go get Ngakoue. But the Jags are not just going to give a premier pass rusher to an arch rival. It's not going to happen. Now, as far as draft picks, I could see something happening with that. I doubt it would be with the Colts. It's a possibility if Jordan Love is sitting there. I think honestly, if Jordan Love is available where we're picking, if Jordan Love is sitting where we're picking, oh, we're going to be a hot commodity. A lot of teams are going to come talk to us if Jordan Love is sitting there, because there's going to be a team that needs a quarterback that's going to want that 5th-year option. So that is something that could be interesting. I don't know if the Colts do it, but I could definitely see where the Titans trade down. I think that's a big possibility. I definitely think. As the SSJ Titan says, wouldn't mind trading down to get more second rounders and maybe get Hurts as a backup. Wouldn't mind that. Daryl John described as a faster Alteron Vernon, talking about Jeff Gladney. I like him. I would love to get him. If we could trade down and still get him in the first part of the second round, that's a steal for me, honestly. Tyler agreed with me at talking about trading back, maybe have an extra or third rounder. Let's see, Tyler says, who could you see us going for in the draft to fill Casey's spot? We got him in the third round. I still think that was a mistake. Agreed. Losing Jarrell was bad. It hurt. It hurt big time. And of course, later on in the show, in just a bit, we're going to be talking about defensive linemen and pass rushers. So we're going to get into that, Tyler. Absolutely. It's the compensatory pick for the 2020 draft. Do you draft tackle or center? Ben Jones is up after next year. Compensatory pick is not for this draft. They've already awarded those, Daryl. Though the compensatory pick that we may get is for next year's draft for 2021. That's where that's going to be. All the compensatory picks for this year's draft have already been done. So we gotta think about it that way. Drafting a tackle or center, we're definitely gonna probably draft a tackle. I read on Music City Miracles, I think they were I think it was some source, I can't remember what it was, but they were saying that the Titans are looking at more focused on a corner, offensive lineman, or a playmaking wide receiver. And I think they threw in also defensive line as well. But that's where they're thinking that the Titans are really going to be paying attention to. And the Titans have been talking to a lot of corners. A lot of corners. And I'll take a look at that on Instagram in just a moment. Tyler says, we still don't have a backup quarterback. That's true. We do not. And I'm thinking, and obviously I've been listening to Jared and the GM and also the Midday 180. Vrabel loves Logan Woodside. And I think he wants to give Logan Woodside every opportunity to win the backup job. Now, is he going to be in competition with somebody? Absolutely. He ain't going to just have that job to himself. It's either going to draft a quarterback or they're going to bring in a veteran quarterback. But, Logan Woodside's going to have some competition. And but Vrabel loves Logan Woodside. He definitely likes Logan Woodside and wants him to be on the team. Let's see. All right, Butchie, I'm going to get to you in just a second. I know you had a question. Now, Joseph had me a couple of questions. He said, first, does the offensive coordinator tell the other position coaches what to do during the games? Or is it the other way around? And same on the defensive side. Everything goes through the offensive coordinator. Now, the head coach probably has what he wants to do, and then the offensive coordinator is second in command. He basically is like, all right, this is what I think we could do for that plan. And then, offensive coordinator has meetings with the other position coaches. And so, me not being a coaching expert, I don't want to tell you wrong, but the offensive coordinator, as far as the offense, and the defensive coordinator, as far as the defense, are like the generals. Your head coach is your king, your leader. Your offensive and defensive coordinators are your second in command. They're your generals. And then the position coaches are up under the offensive and defensive coordinator. Those coordinators have meetings with their coaches, with those other coaches, to say, hey, this is what I plan to do for this week. This is what our game plan should be for this week. Let's get our guys ready for that. And then the position coaches can coach their particular positions according to the game plan or what they want out of that position. That's how I see it. I could be wrong. And if anybody who's ever coached, if anybody's watching the show that's ever really coached before can, see if I'm correct or if I'm wrong, feel free to correct me. Feel free to correct me. I'm willing to learn everything, because I know my wife sometimes says that she thinks I would make a good coach, that I should coach at some point, and maybe I might consider it. I may think about it, but I will still need to learn the nuances of it all and everything. His second question, he says, how does play calling work during games? What are the coaches saying to the players through their helmets? Now, a lot of times, offensive coordinator, they're definitely talking to the quarterback. They're definitely talking to the quarterback. There's probably communication between offensive coordinator and head coach. There's probably like there's definitely communication between offensive coordinator or defensive coordinator, head coach saying, "Hey, I think we could do this. We should do that." Most of the time, it's either the coordinators are talking to the quarterback or the middle linebacker, who will be head of the defense, or the head coach. And then those coaches, the position coaches, relay to the players maybe on the field, on the sidelines, what they should do. They may not be, the coordinator may be calling down to maybe one of the assistant coaches who may have the headset, and they relay to the players, "Hey, we need to do this, we need to do that." That's something that I think goes on as far as coaching. If some head coaches don't call plays, why do they have plays? If a head coach doesn't call plays, that doesn't mean they don't know what's going on or they don't have a say. They're the head coach. They have the overall say. They may go to a coach, they may not be calling plays, but they may notice something going on, yo, DC, you might want to call a blitz here. On this situation, you better call a blitz. Or in this situation, look, we should go man coverage instead of zone. That's something that the head coach might be saying. Or in this instance, the other side, he might be saying, "Hey, we got a good shot right here. We see them backpedaling. Let's go downtown. Let's go deep. Right here, let's run it. Let's run the ball." Something like that. That's something that they could be talking about as far as if the head coach isn't calling the plays. When a quarterback is done playing, who do they talk to on the sideline? What do players and coaches and the broadcast media do during halftime? Well, I mean, I see you have a lot of questions as far as nuances. Um, when they're on the phone on the sideline, they're talking to probably the offensive coordinator. They're talking to the offensive coordinator. They could be talking to their position coach. The quarterback may be coming to the sideline. He may be talking to his offensive line as they're looking at the iPad maybe over the last play, saying what they could have did better, and things like that. So there's definitely some communication as far as how the next series is going to go, what we could do on a particular play. Maybe there was a play that they did not hit on. They'd be like, "Hey, we're going to come back to this play. We need to do this here, and we can hit this play." So that's something that they could be discussing on the sideline. And as far as during halftime, coaches and players, they're in the locker room. They're making adjustments. They're making adjustments, preparing for the second half. That's definitely what they're doing. Media, on the other hand, they're probably putting in reports. They're probably either broadcasting out to their outlets or maybe they're doing some writing on their laptop as far as what they've seen. They could be tweeting out what they're seeing. And that's the things that they do during halftime. So that's what I think. If it's me, I'm going to be talking about a little bit of, hey, this is what I saw during the first half. This is what I think they need to do in the second half, and so on and so forth. That's just me. Let's see, I'm going to look at some comments. Owen says, only two quarterbacks we have interviewed: Steve Montez, Colorado; James Morgan, Florida International. Yeah, I did see that. I definitely started with the Florida International quarterback. Absolutely. I did see that they did a FaceTime with him. And SSJ Titan says, Florida International quarterback looks really good. He could be a developmental quarterback. Tyler comes and says, what's up with the defense? Who's calling the plays? Honestly, I think it could be Mike Vrabel, and I don't like that move. Now, it could also be de facto Jim Haslett could end up calling the defense. I would probably like that better than Mike Vrabel calling the plays because, last time Mike Vrabel was really calling plays, it didn't go too well. So that's just me. Tyler says, high school coaching is fun, did it for 4 years. Yeah, and now that I'm back here in Memphis, I may look at maybe doing a little part-time coaching in my alma mater. I might check that out. I might take a look at that, maybe coach defensive line or anything like that as far as technique, pass rushing, and things like that. Maybe that's something that I might consider. SSJ Titan says, Titans are the kings of halftime adjustments. They do well with that. Titans are a second half football team. Let's see. Butchie comes in and says, I know you were high on Cam Dantzler even after his poor showing at the Combine. Supposedly ran a 4.38 at his pro day. If him and Gladney are available at 29, who is your pick? That's easy. Jeff Gladney. Uh, yes, I am high on Dantzler. He's my number 3 corner on my list of corners. And remember, I'm not talking about like top corners and everything or top players, because obviously, like pass rushers, Chase Young would be my top. I'm talking about the guys that would actually possibly be available when the Titans pick. So that's why I go based off of. That's why, like with, for example, offensive tackles, I didn't talk about Tristan Wirfs or Jedrick Wills or Mekhi Becton or Andrew Thomas. Because 9 times out of 10, 99 times out of 100, those guys are not going to be available when the Titans pick. So that's what I've based my rankings off of with that. But Glad needs to pick for me first. He's my number 1 corner. If not Landon Clowney this year, means we save cap room and could sign Yannick next off season as a free agent. That's if he plays it out in Jacksonville. That's if he plays it out in Jacksonville and he gets to walk. I can see that, but I don't think Jacksonville's going to let him go like that. They may be trying to trade him, and they're going to be trying to trade him for a pretty penny. And like, if they're going to try to trade him to us, they're going to try to make us pay big. Like that 29th pick, they're going to want. And they're probably going to want more than that. And I'm not willing to pay that big of a price. And then we will have to sign Yannick Ngakoue to a new deal at some point. Might be able to get it less than 20, but you're going to be paying at least 17 for Yannick Ngakoue, without a doubt. Tyler says things are going to be different without Dean Pease, and it does concern me. Plus, losing Casey and Ryan, we've lost defensive leaders. I agree. We do have a lack of leadership. However, that's where guys like Rashaan Evans, Kevin Byard, who has been pretty good as a leader, Kenny Vaccaro, they're going to have to step up. They're going to have to step up and lead. Defensive line is getting a lot younger and things like that. But I think defensively, Rashaan Evans, Kevin Byard, I think we're going to be fine as far as leadership defensively. Derek Johnson says, hope Vrabel does like Belichick and shares play calling duties. He should. He definitely should. I don't want him having to call all the plays. I wouldn't do that. That's something that would definitely concern me. Let's see. I'm trying to find what Owen was talking about as far as the link of about that. So give me just a moment. Okay, there we go. And so this was courtesy of, looks like, NFL Trade Rumors, that website, and it was on the Titans Wave Instagram page saying, Pro Football Network's Tony Pauling writes that the Titans are among teams looking to trade down in the first round. Pauling says Tennessee has been linked to Georgia offensive tackle Isaiah Wilson and might try to trade down and still draft him. Honestly, and thank you, Owen, for that. I appreciate you sending me that. And honestly enough, Isaiah Wilson is a guy that could be there. He's a guy that I thought maybe goes in the second or third round, but some people have him pegged that he could be going early second or even sneak into the first round. The other tackle, he played right tackle at Georgia, whereas Andrew Thomas played left tackle. So that might be a good reason right there. So they're saying that the Titans might be linked to him, and they are trying to trade out of the first round and still draft him and get some extra picks. That would actually be good. I wouldn't mind that. Definitely wouldn't mind that. Um, what are your thoughts on acquiring Jalen Ramsey since the Rams are dumping everything? Jalen Ramsey's a hothead. I like Jalen Ramsey as a player, but off-field antics, he's a hothead. Maybe he straightens up and flies right if he's back home, if he's here back home where he should be, but he's a character concern. He could be one of those cancers that you don't want. You know, he's the type of guy, he starts trouble. He can start a little trouble. So I would be a little bit worried about that. Tyler says, you think there's still a chance we could get Ryan back? There's a chance, albeit I don't think there's a good one. I think the Titans are going to go heavy in corner. They may double dip and draft corner. I know they're drafting a corner early, in my honest opinion. I think they're going to draft early at corner and within the first couple of rounds. Now, if they double dip and pick another corner maybe late, like in the 7th round, that tells me all I need to know. That tells me Ryan ain't coming back. That's just me. But I honestly think if the Titans wanted to bring Logan Ryan back, they would have done it already. They would have done it. Easy. Let's see. Joseph says, I have a pipe dream. Bringing in Romeo Crennel to call the defense. New England Patriots, he was on the New England Patriots coaching staff. Vrabel was a player. That's true, but I think Romeo Crennel is working with Houston, I think, as a consultant. He works for the Texans still as a consultant or something like that. So he still works for Houston. That's why Vrabel hasn't brought him in. Tyler says, I think we still need an upgraded right guard. I could see where they bring in maybe another offensive lineman, maybe somebody that can play center and guard. Nate Davis, I think, needs to still continue to grow into his position. He came on late in the year and did better. That offensive line started to gel late as the year went on. So I wouldn't necessarily say that we need an upgraded guard. We might need depth. I would definitely say we need depth, but Nate Davis very much improved as the season went on, and I think he can only continue to get better. All right, y'all. I know I've been talking your head off for 57 minutes and everything, but let's go into my draft preview. As I'm going to talk a couple of positions right quick, as we're going to be talking pass rushing, because that's always been a need. That's always been a need, is pass rushing. And right now, I don't know if the Titans are going to get Clowney or not. I think they're good that we get Clowney. And I'd take my hat off y'all for a little bit. I mean, chances are good that I think we're going to get him. We'll see after the 28th if they say anything. But in case that we don't, or we have to move on, pass rushing is we do need, and here top 5 pass rushers that I have possibly for the Tennessee Titans. I'm going to start with the edge rushers. Now, number 1, and this cat may not even be available when we pick, is K'Lavon Chaisson from LSU. I looked at some film of him. What I liked about him is that I think he has a very high IQ. He's fast, he's a definite speed rusher. Has a little bit of cover ability and definitely good in stunts. He's very, very quick and he can add a little bit of weight. He may have some trouble with bigger, stronger offensive tackles, but those that may be like a little bit flat-footed, he can get around them. Keep those likes coming, keep those views coming. I appreciate that, y'all. Good job. But what I didn't like is issues of getting off blocks. Like if an offensive lineman gets their hands on him, he has issues disengaging from those blocks. He doesn't have a huge repertoire of pass rushing moves. I think he mainly relies on his speed to do the job and his athleticism. And then sometimes he tends to get a little antsy and jumps off sides. So he's got to be disciplined. But all in all, Kayvon Chason is my number one pass rusher. I would love to get him if we're not getting Clowney. I would definitely enjoy Kayvon Chason in his rotation. But you know what the old saying goes? You can never have too many pass rushers. Never. There'll be a way to make it work. Because think about this. You can get a Kayvon Chason and you have him with Landry, Beasley, and Clowney. And let's say Clowney leaves after a year or two. Then you can put Chason in with Landry and Beasley and you don't drop anything. So I wouldn't mind that at all. But I think he might be gone before we pick him. Tyler says we need depth behind Clowney because he gets hurt often. That is true. He does have injury concerns. So, more pass rushers, the better. Absolutely. Number 2 on the list is Yetur Gross-Matos from Penn State. I definitely like the fact that he can rush the passer. He's very strong, very physical, and definitely has a repertoire of pass rushing moves. I got to see this cat play personally. I was in Dallas at the Cotton Bowl. I was there and got to see Yetur Gross-Matos play. He lined up all over the field. He was lined up standing up. He was lining up in the 3 technique. He also was lined up over the nose at times and was causing havoc. This kid could be very, very good. I would not mind that at all. Now, he did have a little bit of an off-the-field issue a couple of years ago, but I think all of that has passed. So I think he's still good. Very versatile, very physical. Problem is, he didn't make a lot of impactful plays from what I saw. Again, I'm no expert, but from what I saw, just wasn't as impactful in every game. Me personally, I want a guy that impacts every single game. Make at least some type of play. Well, it doesn't have to be a sack every game, but it could be, really disrupting the quarterback, turning something into an interception, or causing a turnover or something like that. Making some type of big play every game. And I just didn't see that with Yetur Gross-Matos, but I think that's something that could come. I think he would be better as a 4-3 defensive end than a 3-4 outside linebacker. He maybe even could be a 3-4 defensive end, which is the same. And I just think he's physical, but not aggressive. And when I say that, what I mean is he leaves a lot to be desired. He leaves like, I want more. And that's just something that I think I would expect from a guy like Yetur Gross-Matos. Number 3, and this is a guy that could be a 3-4 defensive end, is A.J. Espinosa from Iowa. Now, I watched him going up against another possible first-round offensive tackle in Austin Jackson of USC. That was a good battle between those two guys. I enjoyed that battle with that. One thing about Espinosa, he is a power rusher. Doesn't really have speed, but he is a power rusher, strong hands, good hand placement, very strong. I think he would be better as a 3-4 defensive end or a 4-3 defensive end because he's better with his hand in the dirt. He would definitely be a good fit for a 4-3, a better fit for a 4-3 than a 3-4, and you cannot deny his production. He has a lot of production. Had over 11 sacks last year. And so, very productive, could be very violent. I like that. Problem is he had a very, very bad combine, I think he ran like a sub-4 or ran a sub-5.2, I want to say. So he's not really athletic. He doesn't have really a lot of speed at all to his game. He's more of a power guy. So I think he could bulk up about another 10 to maybe another 5 to 15 pounds, put him down as a 3-4 defensive end. I think he could do something. Maybe get at the end of the first round or early part of the second round. Number 4 is Zach Bond from Wisconsin. Again, production. Had 12 and a half sacks last year. He's versatile because he could play edge rusher, or he could be like a off-ball linebacker. Like in a 4-3, he could be like your Sam or Will linebacker, maybe even play a middle linebacker. And in a 3-4, he could be either an inside linebacker or an outside linebacker. With that, so he's very versatile. He's extremely productive. Does have a little bit of cover skill, but looks like at the Senior Bowl in some practices he struggled in one-on-one man coverage. That's some issues. Could play in either scheme. The only problem I have is not as strong as he could be, and could be bullied by big, stronger offensive tackles. So that's something that could be an issue. But he's another guy like an AJ Espinosa. I just think Mike Vrabel would just salivate to get his hands on. You know, Vrabel is a very hands-on kind of guy. So that's something that he enjoys doing that. He absolutely enjoys doing that. Joseph says we need somebody to call our defense. That one time when Coach Vrabel called our defense, when Coach went down, our defense got murdered and desecrated. I agree. I don't want Vrabel calling the plays because I just don't like. We've seen this before and it didn't look good. Last but not least, number 5, Bradley Anai from Utah. Now, I don't think he goes in the first round. I think he can go maybe at the bottom of the second round. He could be there for us at 61. I definitely would love to get him if he's there at 93. I don't know if he'll make it that far, but I can see that being a possibility. He has a very good first step. He's an extremely hard worker. This is the guy that Teron Davenport, shout out to TD, by the way, talking with TD. He just brought out a new episode Friday, and I think he's doing one today. But he touted this guy's horn, Bradley and I. He was definitely high on him. He's a hard worker. He was very productive. He's the all-time sack leader, I think, in Utah. And I want to say maybe the all-time sack leader in the Pac-12, if I'm not mistaken. So he's very productive, a hard worker, very good first step. Has some good pass rushing moves. However, I think he still has a lot of room to develop and get even better. Needs to get a little bit stronger. Needs to get a little bit stronger, maybe a little bit faster coming off the ball. I think he's more of a power rusher than a speed rusher, but he has a little bit of speed, but it could be better. Some dark horses. These are some other guys that definitely could get looked at. Another guy that Teron Davenport's been high on is Alex Highsmith from Carolina. I mean, not Carolina, Charlotte, UNC Charlotte. Julian Aquara from Notre Dame. I had him in my top 5, but Zach Bond and Bradley and I stuck in there. Josh Uche from Michigan. Uche is one that you think you might like him, but I just don't know if the production is there. And, you know, he has some injury issues and things like that. So that's kind of a concern. Terrell, and then you got a couple of Alabama defensive ends in Terrell Lewis and Anthony Jennings. Now, Anthony Jennings, I wouldn't mind late. He's a guy that he could be violent. Terrell Lewis, I know the Titans have talked about him. The Titans have been talking to him. I just don't know if Terrell Lewis is right for this team and as far as this scheme. We need a little bit more aggression, and I just don't see it with Terrell Lewis. I see it more with Anthony Jennings. I could be wrong. I don't get to watch a lot of, well, I do watch a little Alabama football, but not a lot and everything. So, but those are just a couple of dark horses that I see as far as that. And I know there's probably some other guys. Forgive me for missing on them and anything like that. Also, I forgot one. Here's one I forgot. Curtis Weaver from Boise State. He should be right up there, like right outside of the top 5. I forgot to mention him. Curtis Weaver definitely is a guy worth looking at as well from Boise State. Could put on a little bit of weight, maybe a little light as a defensive end. Still needs to develop. but he could be sneaky good with that. So those are my top 5 edge rushers. But now, also, I'm looking at defensive linemen as well. And defensive line is somewhere where we definitely got to improve with Jarrell Casey being gone. And, you have big Jeffrey Simmons coming into his second year, fully healthy after last year. Daquan Jones. You got Isaiah Mack as well. But we still need some help on the defensive line. And so these are some of my top defensive linemen that I have. Number 1, and again, these are my thoughts. These are my rankings, okay? These are who I think is the tops. Number 1 for me is Neville Gallimore of Oklahoma. I loved watching some of his tape. I mean, he's very athletic. Definitely can rush the passer. He definitely can rush the passer even from the nose position. I think he could play nose. He could play 3-4 defensive end. You could put him in a 4 lineman set. So if we got Clowney, you could do Landry, Gallimore, Simmons, Clowney. You could do something like that. You could kind of interchange a little bit. Maybe do like Clowney, Gallimore, Landry, Beasley. You could do a whole lot of different things. He has some very good speed. He's a 3-down player. You don't have to take him off the field. Very, very athletic. From Canada, from St. Catharines in Canada. He also played basketball, so he's very athletic. Now, he does need to improve against the run. Not as fast off the snap, He's more reactive after the snap, but does get to the quarterback at a very good rate. I said not versatile. Plays more on the inside. He played more on the inside, like 0 to 1 technique. That's really where he was doing that. I can see where we may have him going from either nose to 3 technique as well. Maybe he could play that, and I'm pretty sure he could, but he's been more in the nose or right there defensive tackle in a 4-3. So we'll definitely have to see. Daryl John just mentioned my third guy. My second. Well, he's third. Second is Ross Blacklock. Ross Blacklock is number 2. He can play in a 3 or 4 man front, very versatile. He's more of a space eater. When I watched some film with him, like against Baylor and against Texas, a lot of times he got double teamed a lot. And he plays very low. He's not high or anything like that coming off the ball. He plays low, but a lot of times he gets double teamed, which is a good thing because it creates for others, and that's really what you want, like your nose tackle and some 3-4 defensive linemen to do, is to create for your outside linebackers to get one-on-one. Your inside linebackers can make plays. That's basically what's supposed to happen. He can create for others, has very good footwork. He's good against the run and the pass. Sometimes with his rush, and sometimes they did maybe some twist, and I think his scheme-wise, he ends up taking himself out of the play. Like, he goes outside and the play goes right inside where he was and things like that. That's probably more schematic than anything, but sometimes he takes himself out of the play. And I just didn't see enough big impact plays, at least from the 2019 season that I saw. Maybe I was looking at the wrong film. I looked at him against Baylor. I looked at him against Texas. I think I looked at him a little bit against Oklahoma. And when I look at tape, I want to look at tape. I don't look at tape against sorry teams. I'm sorry. I look at tape against the good teams, against teams that are going to have players that are going to play in the NFL. For example, I'm going to get to Marlon Davis in just a second. He's my number 3 player. I watched him against Alabama, against Florida, against Georgia. I'm not going to watch him against Mississippi Valley State or something. I'm not going to do that. I want to watch him against good competition. And one thing about Marlon Davis, he's number 3. He does line. He could play D line as a 3-4 defensive end. He even can line up outside of the pass rusher, and he's like 280 pounds standing up. He can play standing up. He has a high motor. He has a lot of upside. I think he has the most upside in this defensive lineman class, at least from right where I'm ranking. Now, some issues that I have. Can he succeed without a dominant defensive tackle in there with him? A lot of the things he was able to do was because Derek Brown was getting a lot of attention. Can he succeed without that type of guy next to him? Now, if he comes here, he's going to have Big Jeff. He's going to have Big Jeff. He may have Clowney. That's why he might be successful. But can he succeed by himself? That is the question. Also needs to develop some pass rushing moves. I think he develops too much on power. Depends too much on power. And he can tend to struggle a little bit against the run. Again, I could be wrong. But he can play standing up or hand in the dirt. Very versatile. And Daryl John says, do you think we have enough defensive linemen now? No. I think we can use one or two. Absolutely. Number 4 is Justin Baabuke from Texas A&M, and he is slowly rising up boards. Some people think Justin Baabuke could sneak into the first round, and this kid has a lot of potential and a lot of upside as well. And I really like what he could do. He could be a playmaker. He's athletic, plays low, very good pass rusher, had 5.5 sacks. He gets tackles for loss, so he's very good against the run. It's going to take at least 2 to block him, and he can still beat double teams. Now, he can still develop. He can still develop and become great. I think he can become great. He's going to have to develop a couple, maybe another pass rush move or two, but Justin Baabuke is one of my risers. He could be a sleeper pick for the Tennessee Titans. And number 5, because I had to have a 5th, is Raekwon Davis from Alabama. Big-bodied individual, 6'7", 306. Very stout against the run. If he had came out last year, I think he could have been a first round or early second round pick. His production dipped a little bit here in 2019, but still needs to develop a pass rush and things like that. And his production just was not there this past season. But Raekwon Davis with some development could be a late second, third round pick. So dark horses I like. Definitely a guy that the Titans have talked to is James Lynch, defensive tackle from Baylor. He's a guy that the Titans have talked to. Robert Windsor is a guy from Penn State who I think could go late, maybe in the 5th, 6th, or 7th round. Rashard Lawrence from LSU could go in the 3rd round. Another guy that a lot of people are starting to talk about is Jordan Elliott from Missouri. Now, I haven't really watched any of Jordan Elliott, but he's a guy that a lot of people are talking about could rise up the board. He could be like that guy that you didn't see coming who, could get picked high. Some other guys, you got the Davis twins in Nebraska, Khalil and Carl Davis. Also, Darion Daniels from Nebraska, somebody the Titans have talked to. Devon Hamilton from Ohio State. Leaky Fotu from Utah, who the Titans have talked to. And Laurel Murchison from NC State. This is the guy that Coach Dave McGinnis, Coach Mack, has talked about on their OTP podcast. And another guy that was mentioned, I forgot his name, from Arkansas. I think his name is Aljum. I can't remember his first name, but he was a defensive lineman from Arkansas, was the guy that they mentioned too, as well. So those are a couple of guys that are dark horses that I really could like. I think we definitely are going to draft a defensive lineman within the first 3 rounds. I think we're going to go within the first, I would say definitely by round 5, we will have a defensive lineman of some sort. I think we're going to definitely do cornerback, defensive lineman, and maybe a wide receiver, and then maybe an offensive lineman, maybe late. So we'll definitely see what we'll have with that. Ryan Teddigo said, are we having an episode Wednesday and Thursday or just Thursday? I'm actually going to do something both days because I'm going to have my final full 1-round mock draft. That's for every team. I'm going to do that on Wednesday night, and we're going to talk about offensive players. We're going to talk about wide receivers. We're going to talk about running backs, and we're going to talk maybe a little bit about quarterbacks. We're definitely going to do that, and then we'll have my final 1-round mock draft. My final mock draft. Now, we'll probably do a 7-round mock for the Titans, but I'm going to do just a 1-round mock draft for everyone. My one and only full first-round mock draft on Wednesday. And then Thursday, I will have the first round of the draft. So we're definitely going to do that with everything. So I didn't really have a blue bombshell of the day. I really didn't have a blue bombshell question of the day. I hope everybody's doing okay during all of this. I'm sick of hearing about this virus. If the virus was a human being, I probably would want to punch that human being punch that guy in the face. I really would. If the virus was a person. So forgive me, y'all. I'm joking around with that, but I mean, yeah, it's depressing right now. I'm looking so forward to this draft because after this draft, it's really not going to be nothing sports-wise to talk about, maybe except with this whole Clowney thing. Once that's over with, there really won't be much to talk about. OTAs are going to be virtual. They're going to start doing that with new coaches on April the 20th, and then April 27th will be everybody else. So they're going to be doing like virtual OTAs and things like that. So at least some type of structure could be set and everything. So that's something that's at least some type of good news. SSJ said, can't wait to watch the channel while watching the draft. I appreciate that. I'm probably going to have the draft on my phone on the NFL Network. So that's probably what I'm going to be looking at. SSJ said, I'm sick of hearing about the virus too. Football season, hurry up and get here. Ryan Tango said, my school just got called out for the year. So a lot of draft studying to do now. Agreed. I've heard a lot of I think a lot of the like city schools and stuff like that, they just said, you know what, we're just going to call it a year. I know some are still doing online with their students and things like that. But as far as like going back physically to school, it looks like it's a wrap. But yeah, I know I've talked y'all head off for over an hour and a half. It's 11 o'clock. I'm probably going to get to bed because I got to get back up for work in the morning. Thank y'all for tuning in tonight to Titans of Truth. Make sure y'all get ready. We're going to have a huge show next week as we get ready for the draft and also the draft show itself. So definitely be ready for that. Excited about it. And we are going to have one heck of a good time. And we're going to make it happen. So, as always, no one, and I do mean no one, will survive. Good night, y'all. I see my. Tighten up, y'all.